God says about you that you are born to rule and take dominion. God says about you that you are a son, a daughter of the King. And God says about you that you will inherit the land. God says about you that every place you put your foot, you shall be given it. God says about you that your marriage may be rich and fulfilling. God says about you that you are the called out ones. God says about you that you are empowered with the Holy Spirit on high. God says about you that you may drive out demons in His name. And God says about you that you are healed. And furthermore, God says about you that you may pray for the sick and they will be healed. God says about you that your children will rise up and call you blessed. And even better, God says about you that your children can walk in strength. God says about you that you may prosper. God says about you that in His name you may go into all the world and make disciples. God says about you that you are made right before Him. And God says about you that you are loved by Him. God says about you that you are a minister of reconciliation. And God says about you that you are strong and you are not weak. And God says about you that you have choices and you can choose life. God says about you that you may walk in freedom. God says about you that you can take off the grave clothes. God says about you that you are no longer bound. God says about you that you are a child of God. God says about you that you are called to preach the good news. God says about you that you can break the chains that bind. God says about you that you are a peculiar people set aside for His purposes. And God says about you that you are forgiven. God says about you that you are made whole. And God says about you that you are like a well-watered tree. God says about you that you can dance about in freedom. God says about you that you may prophesy. God says about you that you have been given the spirit of peace and of a sound mind. And God says about you that you may have faith and hope and love. God says about you that your name is on His lips. God says about you that He is the lifter of your head. God says about you that He has given you courage. No, He's given you great courage. God says about you that He has a plan for your future to prosper you. God says about you that He knows the number of hairs on your head. God says about you that your life can make a difference. God says about you that your dreams are important. God says about you that He will make straight your path. God says about you that He will be the keeper of your heart. God says about you that you are anointed. God says about you that you are loved with an everlasting love. And God says about you that He has opened the doors wide for you. God says about you that you are equipped for His purposes. God says about you that you were perfectly formed in your mother's womb. God says about you that you can move mountains. God says about you that you can live rightly before Him. God says about you that you are the head and you are not the tail. God says about you that you have been given a new name. God says about you that you are His workmanship, created for good works, to walk in